I'm not going to let you down.
Just don't follow.
All right. We'll call this meeting, January 21st meeting, of Macon County Board of Commissioners to order. And we'd like to welcome each one of you and say how glad we are that you chose to come this way. Mr. Travis, you have our anyone else here that wanted to speak to the board, open public comment, if you didn't sign up, let us know. We'll come to that in just a minute. As far as announcements, do we have any announcements other than I would like to start out by saying that we are very thrilled and delighted to welcome our new county manager tonight. Mr. Derek Rowland is here, and probably no new face to most of you. Born and raised in Macon County, and received his Master's of Public Administration not long ago, and worked for the county and was stolen away. I mean, hired by the town. Did I say that? And we hired him back, and we hope to stay this time. So, Derek, we'd like to welcome you and just say how thrilled we are. He's hit the ground running, and if I do say so, he's done a super job so far. So, welcome, our new county manager. Derek, you want to say anything?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. It's been a pleasure. I've had such a great welcome back since I got started. Came back. It's again, everyone's a familiar face here, and it's just everybody's extended a helping hand and went out of their way to help me get settled in and make me feel at home. And I'm very proud to be part of this team, and more importantly, proud to be part of this county.
Thank you. It's not publicly known, but we do have a contract with Derek. He cannot leave this position, go to any other job. I can't share exactly what it is. It has something to do with the Sheriff's Department incarceration. I think he's found a home for a while. Derek, glad you're here.
Yes, sir.
Announcements. Mike, anything you have to announce? Derek, any announcements? Mr. Haven? No. Oh, no.
And I've done some rotations on that today.
Okay. I do have one. Sometimes there's privileges to being chairman of this wonderful board and appreciate these men I serve with. But there's somebody here I'd like to recognize. We have commissioners meetings generally once a month, sometimes twice a month. And we've got a couple, the Robs, that never miss a meeting. These guys are always here. Now, he would like for you to believe that's because he's very interested in county business. I happen to know that he likes to go eat at Shoney's about 7:30 on commissioner meeting night. So they come here to have something to do until 7:30. I know that's true. But Rich Robb is a good friend and always been a supporter of our county, worked hard, and he celebrated on Sunday, celebrated 90 years young. And we appreciate his service to our country. He's a World War II veteran. And as a Board of Commissioners, we just wanted to recognize, you come up here a second, Rob. Mr. Rob.
He's also retired.
And Miss Rob.
And he's a retired highway patrol officer.
So for being 90 years young and for attending all our meetings, we wanted to give you, this is from all of us.
Still good looking.
This is the flag of Macon County. I don't know how many of you know what that looks like. That's the flag of Macon County. Framed for you. And Miss Rob, we're going to give you this on his behalf. This is a pen that says Macon County Board of Commissioners on it. And that pen is for you to write down all the honeydew things you want to do. Okay? So thank you guys for...
Well, after that, I can't say much. We come here because we like to come here, and we usually got another couple with us too. But tonight, I have a very good couple. I have my son-in-law and daughter here with me. So, what can you say?
I don't say anything.
Looking forward to a good dinner.
Well, all my life, I've had two good kids, and you know what? I've had two good wives. And most everybody knows that. But now everybody in here knows it. I really have had two good wives. And this is one of them.
Thank you, Rick. Somebody said you're not going to get in trouble just recognizing a citizen like that. I said, no, if you attend every county commissioner meeting, when you turn 90, we'll give you a plaque. So, it's a short list. Gentlemen, let's stand. We're going to observe a moment of silence, focus our minds and our hearts on the business at hand. Let's do that, and then I'll ask Commissioner Tate if he would lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 5 is for a public hearing. We have none tonight. And under the public comment period, we have had 3 folks signed up. We have Mr. Dennis Conley. And Dennis is here. Dennis is a member of our Recreation Commission.
Thank you. Gentlemen, Ms. Hall, I'm Dennis Connolly, member of the recreational activities facilities in our county by buying the Parker Meadow property. As you are well aware, we have received a part-up grant for $500,000 to be matched by the county, and to receive this, we must move forward with the development. I am here on behalf of the entire Rec Commission seeking your support to fully fund the development and completion of this project now and not do the work in phases. The Rec Commission has analyzed the cost, and we believe the taxpayers of Macon County would save a minimum of $100,000 and possibly as much as $300,000 by doing all the work now and processing the bidding in one event instead of doing it in separate phases. If we are committed to doing this project, which I fully believe we are, then we should be as cost effective as possible with the taxpayer money. When completed, the economic impact will be seen sooner for Macon County. We already have people contacting the rec park wanting to know when it's going to be done to start scheduling tournaments there. And anytime there's a tournament with multiple teams from across the country coming in, then that means revenue for our hotels and motels, our businesses, restaurants, and other things. So it will be a major impact for this county. If you was to decide to proceed in phases, please be reminded of an additional liability the county will be taking on by having work done on the property while games and activities are being held. You potentially will have children, traffic, walkers, and others around the heavy equipment, construction workers, and additional construction traffic during that period. Just because you're doing it in phases doesn't mean what gets completed we want to do, but we really think it should be all done at one time. So on behalf of the Macon County Rec Park Commission, we unanimously ask you to fully complete this project as soon as possible. We believe the savings and the potential tourism income needs to be sooner than later. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis. Next, we had signed up Mr. Mike Caldwell, and Mike is with the Independent Sports Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike Caldwell. I'm with the Independent Sports Association. I'm the Southern Region VP for the organization, also state director. When I talked with Seth and found out that y'all want to build the fields, we're more than willing to come in and do adult, youth, and baseball once a month, or whatever it takes to use the fields and get the people in here. Down in Cherokee, an example of a 30 to 36 team tournament, you could probably around 3 to $3,000 to $4,000 a weekend just on a concession alone. So, and in my position, I can bring those bigger tournaments in here. It would start slow, I'm sure. Like in Cleveland, Tennessee last year, we started out with 10 to 12 teams, and by the end of the year, we had 54 teams on any given weekend. So, but the economic impact, it's just a good thing, I think. But we're here to help Seth in any way, or whatever to help you grow.
What is your role, Mike? You schedule the tournaments, or you're
Yes,
with them?
I'm a director.
So with 8, we'd possibly have as many as 11 fields, if everything works out. Would that put us at what level, Mike, do you think, compared to like Cleveland, Tennessee, or compared to some of these other places?
A regional top level, possibly even a world. And you know, I'll give you an example. The adult men's world this year, Lexington County, South Carolina, gave ISA $15,000 just to bring that tournament in to that area. That's how big the economic impact is there. So that everybody's wanting the tournaments to come. It's people coming in, they're spending money, heads in beds, people eating, and then after the tournament's over, they leave. They leave their money here and they leave. So, and Seth knows how to get hold of me. I got business cards. You just want one.
Where do you live at?
I live in Silver.
How many events do you do at Cherokee annually?
About 12.
Well, are you in charge of scheduling those?
I get with the complex down there.
How many fields do they have?
They just have 4.
They have 4. And you do adult tournaments? And
Adult, youth, and baseball.
Women's and men's, and boys baseball and girls softball.
And girls, youth, and basketball.
Did you see it all growing, Mike? Everything you saw, it's all growing.
Yeah. And all we need in this area, in the western part of the state, is something like this, because everybody has to go down around Morganton, you know, before you actually get to a nice complex. Like I say, Cherokee's only got 4 fields. You could have some nice tournaments and bring a lot of people in. Like I say, when they leave the money with you.
Okay, Mike?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. We have next Norrell Kirkland, and Norrell is signed up to speak to access to SCC Library, Solid Farm Road.
Mr. Chairman, lady and gentlemen, I know most of you are going to go back at break and say, darn, I thought we were rid of her, but I'm back. I've finished writing a book about the First World War, and so now I'm raring to go. And the first item of business tonight is, most of you have been to the library and have gone home, going along Siler Road and entering onto Route 441. Please get the county to widen that access, right where the traffic light is across from Cursed Drugs. It is hell right now. You get more than 3 vehicles waiting and the lines start backing up. And all they need to do is pave that, then the right lane can just keep
You talking about
out.
where Solid Road comes into?
Right next to the mountain sports.
And as we reported to this board and the other attendants, that was one of the things that we had put on as RPO. We do everything by points now, for real, and when there's no money, it's hard, but that did not make, the county does no road, it's a state. So I encourage you to call Mr. Todd's office, Wesley Grindstaff, Mr. Green, and we'll be glad, we're going to run it back through again. We think that whole area right there needs to be worked. This board agrees, and everybody looked at it, but we did not get it for 2014.
Well,
It's not because it ain't on the agenda.
It was a terrific job they did for cars coming from the south and turning right, but now we need. Now, last week, many of you saw in the Macon Shopping Guide this article about the expansion on the southwestern campus, and I'm sure, like all of us here, I fully support that, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm taking advantage right now of one of the classes that's going on there, so it will benefit all of us. Since that is just even preliminary to the planning stage, and you guys are just beginning to talk about it, it's timely that I bring this item up. This is a diagram. I know it's going to be hard for you all to see, but this is the library, that's the SCC campus. I'm talking about just above where the entrance is now. This view is horizontal, and the yellow line is the subject of my presentation. This view is vertical. So if you can orient yourself. The one disadvantage of this map is it was made, I think, 2004 or something. So the last time we had a flyover, of course, the Sloan Road extension did not exist. But you'll see a building there, and you can just picture where the new road goes by. What I'm talking about is there is a mobile home right now existent on property that Jim Vanderwood owns. Directly across from that is a site where there was, I believe, at the time you put in the access road, a mobile home. And that person, for all I know, may have been resisting moving, but that person is now gone. There is a paved macadam apron, if you will, or access. And that's precisely the point I'm talking about. Where the yellow line goes, it does not impinge on the neighboring property. It's on county and SEC land. And I heartily recommend that right now the ingress and egress road that we have causes cars turning right into the library to almost tilt on their side. It's a very difficult turn to make. The people wanting to exit and go up the road in the future, when we start having more buildings there and more access, and they're using that lower access road for real, this will become a major confusion point. And what I'm suggesting is the existent road not be changed in any way except you take away the yellow line and call it eventually egress, exit only. And then the traffic will come in on a dedicated ingress road per that yellow line that I've drawn. It won't interfere with the silo, it won't interfere with the private property. It's all on land that you currently own.
Mr. Beal is representing our regional RPO. No, he just had one. Certainly had that.
We'll be glad to present that, Morel.
Would you like to keep that for
Oh, no,
reference?
I've got the,
I'll keep this one.
Okay. Thank you very much.
That article she said is a real good article. That article she said is a real good article.
Well, I agree, it's not.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else wish to address the board about anything and didn't get signed up? We'd be happy to entertain your comments this time. If not, Mr. Decker, that completes our public comment. Thank you for your addition to everything. Adjustments to approval of the agenda. Gentlemen, do we have anything we need to add to the agenda, delete from the agenda, or amend on the agenda? Anything at all? Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, I would say we were in touch with Martin and Starnes today, and they will not be able to make it tonight due to inclement weather in Asheville. They were coming from Hickory, so if that item can be removed. And then 8B, presentation of changes to election law. That is, the election law is what inevitably is going to cause the change that the board members will be discussing in regards to having to have a new one-stop facility in Highlands.
And we have the board members here to present that.
Yes. And that's all I have.
Okay. Okay. Anything to add, James Lee?
Just a real quick report on the short session coming up, and one of the 6 bits for Raleigh that we'll be talking about more on Saturday, but just let the public know what's on the
Okay. I would like to add one item. I had a request from Miss Lisa Leatherman with Duke Power, wanting to, I guess this would be new business, so if you would not mind, let's make this 10L. I'm saying my alphabet. You ever do that, Mike? Yeah. Let's make it 10L. Lisa Leatherman that has some information to share with the board. If nothing else, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Moving on, 8A was taken off, so now we'll move to 8B. This is a presentation regarding changes to the election law. And we have Mr. Gary Deals here, Mr. Macon here, Ms. Sarah Walter here, who are our Board of Elections representatives. So, and Mr. Bacon is the chairman, so.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having us here tonight. I'm sure as most of you are aware, there have been several changes in election law that the General Assembly has passed that will affect each county moving forward in elections starting as early as the primaries of this year. Some of the laws that have been passed will not take effect until 16. The big one is the voter ID law, which will not be in effect, just for public knowledge about that, and we'll be putting out more information from the Board of Elections to inform the public here in Macon County about those changes as that time comes about. But some other changes was same-day registration, provisional votes out of precinct. Those are some other changes that have been made. But what we're here to talk with you about tonight is the change in one-stop absentee voting. This is something that we have been doing for some time now. But what the law has changed is it has cut the time of early voting by a week. So this year, our first election will be the primary election. The early voting will begin on Thursday, April the 24th. In previous years, that would have been on Thursday, April the 17th. It will end on Saturday, May the 3rd. So that gives us 9 days of operation. And the primary is scheduled for Tuesday, May the 6th. However, with the change, we are still required to offer the same amount of hours as we offered previously, but they've cut the duration by a week. And so this has required us to look at a couple of options. One would be running about 15-hour days here of early voting site, which we don't feel is in the best interest of voters. It's really not a feasible thing to do. And so out of necessity, to make up those hours, we're looking at adding an additional one-stop location other than what we have here at the Board of Elections office in the courthouse. As has been the consensus of our board, we were exploring to do that an off-site location in Highlands. And so what we're doing here tonight is to request the additional funding that we will need to make that happen. And we have put in a preliminary cost analysis of what we feel at this time this will cost us to do that. I've got copies. This is just really basic stuff. Some things that will be needed to make that happen. Obviously, it has to be a secure location with only access to the board, because there will be things stored there overnight that would need to be secured. So we would need locks changed, things of that nature. Our board has done, like I said, a basic cost analysis of adding this additional site. What we're requesting, the Board of Commissioners to consider is $7,500 to make this happen.
Have you found the location?
What the state board suggests, and we concur, is that we use the same site as what we use for the general election. It just helps to keep down confusion on election day. And typically, if you have a different location, people are going to go to the old location. Then come election day, they're going to go to the new location. And so what we're looking to do is to use the rec center up there, which is our polling place now. Obviously, we would need to secure a room up there where we would change the locks out and have that secured where only we would have access to it during this time period. There may be some things that we need to do to look in getting internet access. Obviously, would need to be in that room, phone access. But
So you're looking at keeping this office open for you? 50 hours, something like that.
I mean, you're looking at going like 6 in the morning to 10 or 11 at night to fulfill those hours. I mean, you figure you got 9 days. So if you got, I think it was about 14, 15-hour days to make up 123 hours, which is what we had previous.
Do you have to make those hours up? Did the state require that as part of the legislation?
Yes, they did. That was part of the deal, was that you had to still offer the same amount of hours, but they were cutting the duration down. And so the most logical thing, plus the, yeah, I know, I've squeezed it all in there, right? But the most logical thing for us, and the reason we picked Highlands, is for several reasons. First of all, for those folks up there to come and vote down here, we had a very, very, very small turnout of folks voting early from Highlands, which thus caused us a tremendous amount of traffic on election day at the Highlands precinct. I mean, it was,
largest precinct.
and it is, and so you figure you've got all of that extra traffic on election day, as well as there's a number of folks, and everybody knows this, from Franklin that works in Highlands that maybe couldn't get back down the mountain or had to leave early enough to where they couldn't use our facility here to vote early, so they would also be able to stop by there. It's anybody that's in the county. It's not just folks that are you know, in the Highlands or Scaly or Flats precinct. It'd be any voter in Macon County would have access to vote at either location.
So like it's just something you need to do here.
Very practical, gives an opportunity for more people to vote. It's a very practical approach to it, and it's relatively cheap.
Yes, we've looked at ways to where week is coming, but that's not upon us yet.
And we know that once it starts, it's going to continue, so next year will be part of the regular budget.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly.
So motion to approve, Mr. Chairman, with the money coming out of contingency.
Okay, we have a motion second to allocate $7,500 out of our contingency, which is a line item in our budget for unexpected expenses. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Mr. Chairman.
Gary, Sarah, thank you.
It's not on there.
We have day-long appointments. We'd like to welcome her as well as Lee Tabor. They're here with the veterans. I think to talk about this stand-down event for veterans, veteran service officer.
Lee Tabor is the newest addition to this office, and Daylon's going to introduce, please.
Yes, this is Lee Tabor. She began work in the Veteran Service Office in September, and I am so glad to have her. We thank the board for their time tonight. I want to say what a pleasure it is to meet a World War II veteran. They are very special people, very special to us. It's nice to meet you.
You talking about Richard Ross?
Yes.
Oh,
Mr. Ross. No, I don't think I'm answered. Okay, we have been contacted by the VA Medical Center to host with them a stand-down for needy veterans and homeless veterans, which is quite an honor because this has only been held in Asheville. We're going to work with they're going to work with the the 6 western counties past Asheville, and we hope to have this in August. But Lee's worked pretty hard on this, so I'm going to let her give you a little bit more information. Thank y'all for your time and for letting us take up your time. I know you have a lot of things going on, but just to give you sort of an idea of what a stand-down is. A stand-down is an event to give homeless and needy veterans both short and long-term assistance and resources, including food, clothing, haircuts, employment counseling, and legal and medical advice. A successful stand-down requires months of preparation, lots of donations, and the generosity of the entire community. It's critical for community members to get involved to show support and encouragement for the veterans. That's why we're here tonight. We just want to make you guys aware, make the county aware of this potential event. It has the potential not to only help our veteran population, but also give Macon County, its leaders and residents, the opportunity to show their compassion and concern for our veterans. The event is funded by a grant from the U.S. Department of Labor, Veterans Employment and Training Service, and there's also gear and clothing that will be there provided to veterans from the Department of Defense. This is the first time an event like this has been in our area. The event will be for the veterans of Macon County and the surrounding 6 counties, which include Cherokee, Clay, Graham, Swain, Jackson, and Haywood counties. And as an example, just this afternoon, Daylon and I had to scramble to find a homeless veteran a warm place to sleep tonight. He presented to our office. and we all know what it feels like outside, and he had nowhere to go. So we worked quickly and thankfully to one of our veterans organizations here in town, we were able to find him a warm place for tonight. So there is a need. And in the last 6 months, we've dealt with at least 4 other homeless veterans. It's difficult to fully account for the actual number of homeless veterans because a lot sleep in their cars, in the woods, or other hard-to-locate areas, and they don't utilize our services. So we're asking for the county to lend us their support as we plan this event. The tentative date and location are August 21st, 2014, at the Macon County Community Facilities Building, which is also home to our beautiful Veterans Memorial. So we could showcase that.
24th?
21st, I'm sorry.
21st.
Got kind of tongue-tied.
What day is that?
It's on a Thursday. It's Thursday, August 21st.
It's all day.
9 to 3, tentative times. And it's one of those things we just sort of are looking for your blessing, your support. If there's any thoughts of maybe county agencies that we could include or involve. One thing that comes to mind would be transit on that day. If we had any veterans who needed a ride to get there, that we could utilize maybe a transit van or something like that to get them to the event. And other than that, the other counties are going to be responsible for getting their veterans to and from Macon County, so that wouldn't be an issue. We would just be talking about the ones located here in Macon County.
And if you've not saw it, Kathy McGaha back when we had Healthy Carolina leading us is at the health department there. They done a very comprehensive study on homelessness in Macon County, and a really good report. It's aged a little bit, but it's been since the recession started, and it includes some statistics from Cherokee County. So you can get hold of Kathy.
Okay.
She's got that report, but it might be something that might be.
Well, and we're not just targeting, we say homeless because that's what the others stand down to. In Buncombe County and other areas, they have a much greater homeless population. And even though we don't have as many that are homeless, we have lots of veterans who are living in subpar conditions who could benefit they just need that outreach. Hey, and this is a one-stop shop. They can come in and file a claim, they can come in and get a haircut, they can come and get 2 hot meals, they can come and get a big heavy jacket and boots from the Department of Defense, they can get a sleeping bag. There's going to be all these organizations represented, maybe a tooth pulled, a doctor visit, their eyes checked, all in one place. And that's going to be Macon County. That's
How do you contact them to know if they don't have an address, you don't have a phone, how do you report out? Any way you can?
And usually one veteran has contact.
Word of mouth.
That's right.
They've done several of these, and Allison Bond works with the VA, and that's she's over the homeless department or whatever there. And they do quite a bit of publicity and word of mouth ahead of time and pass it through other VSOs in the counties and stuff to let people know. And again, we're not going to try to turn anybody away, not necessarily if they're just homeless, if they're in need of services and they're a veteran. I mean, that's what we're going to be there for.
Reflection on the office, maybe.
Do you have any anticipation how many people qualify for that?
Right now, we don't. We're still in the planning stages. I know in Buncombe County, the turnout was great. I don't have a number on that, but it was a huge success, so much that I think this last year was the 4th year in a row that they've done it. And the problem is everything, it stops at Buncombe County, and so they recognize the need west of Asheville. So that's why we were approached, and Macon County was sort of a central location. And,
So this is for vets in several counties?
Yes, Macon plus 6 other counties. Yes, correct.
Let me mention this right here. Homeless period, I've got a soft spot in my heart for them and try to help anybody. See, this winter we've had some record-breaking temperatures on the low side. It's not good. There's a lot of people out here that's trying to help people, period, in any way. Have you ever heard of Jim Captain's Gun Show? One that I promote? Okay, I don't own that show, but I am the promoter of it. This guy owns it in Ashland. This past week, it's funny thing that you hear with this. They have contacted me, and I've got a free table set up at that show. We will be having the Langston this coming weekend for the veterans. We're going to be handing out literature and things about the very same things what you're talking about. I'll be having a show set up in late February here. I don't know exact time and dates, but I think it's the 22nd, 23rd. If there's anything that I could present for you folks to pass out information or anything like this to help people, I'd be more than happy to. So I'll just give me a call, and if I could step foot in from here to help, I would do it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're meeting again February 5th, I believe it is, and they're supposed to have some sort of flyer or something together, you know, sort of letting us know, so I could
Right
definitely
now,
get some information.
as far as some of these shows everyone's going to, they are a lot of people with a lot of problems, of the poor, the homeless, the veterans, and everything else. And the guy I work with, I told him, I said, you know, you're in these communities, you're helping out, you need to extend an arm out to every one of these you can. So everywhere we've been going, we've been having some tables set up to help certain people in like what you're doing. And I'd be more than happy to do what I can to help you with this. Just let me know.
State on Park Meadows Recreational Park. We have Seth Adams, who's our Recreation Director, and Matt Mason, our County Planner.
Michael Boyd's got something he needs to, and that's part of this.
And we have Michael Boyd.
Yes.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you. I was just gonna give you a brief update kind of on where we were. We were back in the fall this past year. We ended up putting me under contract to help with the phase 1 rough grading of the project to get that started out there. And I was just going to give you an update. We basically put plans together and are ready to submit to the North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources to basically permit 18 acres of the site that would allow us to go in and grade and do disturbance activity across the site that would encounter, that would actually correspond with as much information as the option 2 that Seth will be going over here in just a little while. But I've got some plans. I just printed these on 11x17. They're kind of hard to actually read, but I just thought I'd give you a visual picture of what we've been working on a little bit. There's a master plan in the wrong back pages there, so we're getting a little in-depth for that. So basically, the front sheet is just kind of the master plan showing the area that we're going to be planning to disturb, and then the next 2 pages are a little more zoomed in detail. And of course, those plans normally are on 24 by 36, so they're a little easier to read. But I didn't necessarily want to hide your faces with a huge piece of paper like that, so I put it on a smaller piece. But basically, what this entails is putting together the grading and erosion sedimentation control plans and design. It goes along with calculations that we would submit to North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the land quality section. It would go along with a financial responsibility form that would be signed by Mr. Rowland as a representative for the county. It would correspond, the 18 acres for the land disturbance permit for them is $65 an acre, which would entail $1,170 from the county for us to submit this. We're pretty much ready to roll with this. We wanted to basically get it on your guys, get it in your hands so that you can see what we've been doing. And I've been working with Seth and Mr. Mason and Mr. Morgan and a few others, Mr. Rowland and a few others of the county to get to this point, as well as some contractors and whatnot. We've been working with them on pricing what we have here and whatnot. So just wanted to get this to you. It basically entails grading the site, grading the fields so that we have a maximum slope on the fields of 1.5%, taking care of using sediment basis to collect all of the pre-construction stormwater runoff so that the water's cleaned up before discharging into the wetlands and the Cortugajay. And then we're planning to put some storm drainage in that would help control stormwater runoff for the roads and whatnot, as well as put a couple of inlets in place so that when we get into detailed grading of the fields around the concession areas, we have a place to tie yard inlets to and whatnot to take care of some of the more detailed storm drainage collection system that will be involved. So this would basically be the bare bone to get started with the project. So just wanted to give you guys kind of an update where we are. And basically what we'd like to do, possibly, I don't know if tonight would be something we could get from you guys, but your approval or your blessing to move forward with going ahead and submitting this to NCD and getting this process. For the next portion of the property from the entrance road coming off Patton Road, there is going to be a couple of creek crossings, a wetland crossing. So there's going to be a little more design involved, as well as probably a little more extended permit process that we're going to have to go through. We decided to do this area, one, because we could go ahead and get the fields ready for the adults, but you could also play the youth ball on the adult fields as well. And by bringing the road in on this side and this disturbance, we don't have any creek crossings or any wetland impacts. So the permitting for this side is much more simple than it will be for the rest of the project. So this would allow us to go ahead and get out there and get things moving. And however you guys decide on the rest of the project, I'm not real tied into that quite yet, so we'll hear some of that later tonight. But this would get us moving out there, and we could go ahead and get the permitting process for additional disturbance on the property, get that rolling, so that once this construction is in place and going, we can roll right into the future construction without having to stop. If you guys got any questions or anything, I'd be glad to answer any questions. And I'll be here, of course, for Mr. Adams and Mr. Mason's presentation.
Matt, you going to say something?
No.
Mike, does Dinger have a time limit on the permits that they issue for this work to be completed by?
No, sir. Actually, they don't. Once you disturb the ground, you're good to go as long as disturbance is continually taking place. We do have 1 year. Once the permit is granted, we have a 1 year period for which we have to be out there and start work. But no, sir. As far as we can take as long as we need to do.
Do you have cost projections here for this thing?
Those will be coming right behind me. We do.
Do you know how far Dinger is, or they claim they're behind on permits?
No, sir. No, sir. They're not too far behind right now. I have talked to our representative up there. We did talk about the express permitting, but the express permitting would allow us to basically go in and get a permit within a couple of weeks. It would cost around $2,000 to do that, so it costs a little more. But with the process that we're going to have to go to bid this project out and everything, once we get the permit, I don't really see the need of doing express permitting.
The second permit would be about the same amount of money.
The second permit, yes, sir, is going to be around. I think it may even be a little less as far as.
You're working on those plans.
For the no, sir. I've only been approved to work on the phase 1 stuff at this time, for the phase 1 upgrade, and we decided that would be this area that you're showing, that you see here. So you can kind of see that
all the area on the front page. You can see everything that's in dark there is the area. You see this line here around.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may add to that, Matt passed out this sheet at the first, and as Mr. LaVoy said, this corresponds with everything to option 2. So that would be everything in this sheet Matt passed out that's in green, purple, and orange. That means this permit right here will cover that and only that. It won't go down into the red, the option 3.
That's right. And we've been working with a local contractor here in town to put together some concrete construction numbers. I know you guys had seen a cost estimate from when I was working with you guys on the Part F stuff. We did do a preliminary cost estimate at that time, but we've kind of tightened that up a little bit and working with Mr. Penman to come back with some real accurate numbers.
So, Matt, just help me understand, to proceed with the part of grant, to spend that to do, I guess we're just on phase 1 or phase 1 or whatever there, we need to do this permit. That was your-
We, to basically get started in any process, we need to go ahead and get the land started turning for 4 acres. You're looking at probably 45 to 60 days turnaround time on that.
When you give us the approval for that.
Are there anything that we'll do on phase 1, on the green section, is that phase 2, right?
The green section is the part F that we're required to do within 2 years.
So are there anything, we're not gonna have to come back and do anything?
No more permit.
I mean, well, that's what I'm not asking now. I'm asking, if we do this, if we get started on this, then we come over here to the red section, we're not gonna have to double dip no more, are we?
No, we're not gonna have to
Totally
double
separate,
work.
you can keep everything separate, no work's gonna overlap, we have to come back and work up on that.
And that's part of the goal, is to, once we start, we'll go, from green to purple, orange to red, so it sort of works itself out. And if we're lucky enough to get granted the third option, which is the total project, we would still probably start with the part S stuff, so we go, sort of work our way out of the county.
Exactly.
But Seth and I have a presentation put together. For some reason, it's not cooperating. It's
I have a quick question. The $1,170 permit fee, is that cost included like your $21,000 proposal?
It is not.
So it's above and beyond?
Yes, ma'am.
Seth, do you have that in your budget?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not line item, but I have a place.
You do have, you could
Yes.
move it. Okay, so make sure of that.
Okay.
Make sure we didn't need contingency. Just make sure we're good.
And we have possibly built improvement.
I also have a printed version for you.
It's fine. For some reason, resolution's not filed.
And Seth will get into that in a minute. When we get to that
See it
stage,
good on my screen.
the TV's just about up there. First of all, like we had talked about, to keep this as simple as we can and most logical, there's going to be, Seth's going to talk to you about 4 different scenarios. One is our part of obligation that we're already obligated to. Then he's going to build upon that on 3 different options to total project completion. This sheet here, that's the gray and yellow sheet that has all the cost estimates on it. We have done significant research and talked to several contractors, being septic contractors, well contractors, grading contractors, fence and lighting, paving contractors, construction, building contractors, landscape and irrigation contractors, and then miscellaneous expenses. We've compiled an actual list and have all the cost estimates compiled for these numbers. Good? All right.
As Matt had said, we've been busy. The part of obligation, these are things that basically whenever we agreed to go after the part grant, these are things that we said that we would do. As far as that goes, we've got 2 adult fields with dugouts. We've got a soccer field. We've got a playground. We've got a shelter with bathrooms. We've got a 60-space parking area. We've got a 2,200 foot walking trail, and we're going to renovate an existing building up there. We added all those things together. Each one of those sections got its points towards the park grant. We tried to keep that total as close to the $500,000 that we had to match as we could. And the original total was, I think, it came to $614,000. We're over that a little bit once we got into it. We're now at $623,315. Okay, it is everything in red on your map, and everything in red will be what we build up to each additional one. The reason why it went up a little bit, we were originally going to put $10,000 into that house. It's going to cost us about $20,000 to get it up to ADA standards. We did.
That's the original
clubhouse. It is the clubhouse. We're going to have a meeting room in that. We're going to have to build a set of bathrooms on the outside due to the floor of that building has a 6-inch rise to go into the office and where the bathrooms are. And if you build a ramp off of that into the main area, that ramp the size of it would take up the whole meeting room. So it'd be better to have outside bathrooms, which we can use for our maintenance bathrooms on the outside, along with people that are walking the trails and everybody up in that area. But like I said, that total comes to $623,315. And on the next slide, you take part of away from that. So Macon County's obligation to get to just basically satisfy the part of obligation. The county's obligation is $123,315. So with that money, we're going to get 2 ball fields, 60 car parking spot, a shelter, a playground, a soccer field, and a new meeting room. Option number 1 makes the part of grant a little more user-friendly. It puts lights on those ball fields. It also connects a road to that 60 cars parked in the area. It builds a central concession stand in the middle of the area. Those are the 3 main things for option number 1. That comes to a total of $1,104,815, less the part of grant. So it basically equals about $604,815 to get 2 lighted fields with a main entrance access to the parking lot down there. We move to option 2. Option 2, you get the 2 other additional fields with their dugouts to build the clover leaf. It also has field lighting for those 2 additional fields. It adds a 7,000 square foot multi-use court. That'll be an outside pickleball and basketball court on the outside, and also a 200 car parking lot. So that will enable us to have tournaments and have the space to park everybody. That total is $1,748,815 minus the part of money, the $500,000 for part of. Our option 3 is the whole shebang, everything out there. It gets you everything on the adult side, plus it gets you the 4 fields on the youth side. It extends the road all the way through the park. It does the central concession and bathrooms in the middle of it. It adds a maintenance building to the other side to store our maintenance equipment and the guys that'll end up working out there. That's where they'll be housed. So the total, the grand total for the whole park comes to $2,989,315 minus the $500,000 that we got from part of grant. So that total comes to $2,489,315 to have a brand new park with 8 fields that will be suitable for anything that we want to do in the future as far as outside space. Like I said, that's a finished product. Trails, soccer fields, green space. If you just want to go hang out at the pond down there, that pond's beautiful. We were down there the other day, and there's already ducks that are coming now that we've got it cleaned out. Like I said, for that amount of money, we have basically a ribbon cutting, and we are in that park finished.
How long is it going to take to complete that?
We could possibly, if we got started this spring and things go right, by next spring we could be opening. There's nothing in there that will take a huge amount of time to do. The central concession stands will be the only thing that you really have to build other than grade and put fence up. But it is very, very doable to actually have a ribbon cutting by next spring for this park. And at worst, early summer.
The reason I'm asking that, Dennis, I've thought something a lot of money we could save doing it, if you're going to do it all at some point in time. We'll see what that difference is.
We'll go into it. The lighting cost alone, if you do all 8 fields, if you go per field, the lighting cost alone, you end up saving $256,000 lighting everything all at one time versus lighting 2 fields at a time, like we have the options wrote down. If you do just the 4 fields on the adult side, you save $46,000 in lighting costs alone. The lights were the main thing, where the main savings were.
What's that, is that because they have to come and sort of redo the same thing again?
They do, and lighting is the only thing that somebody's gonna have to come from out here, you know, to do. They'll have to bring equipment to set poles, you know, to dig the footers and stuff, and then run the electrical. So that's the biggest expense, as they said, once we get there. And then plus, you're kind of buying in bulk too. The more you buy, the cheaper the cost is. If you on your screen, there's a picture of basically what we're gonna end up getting. That's an 8-field complex right there. Adult fields on one side, youth fields on the other side. The only difference in that park and our park is we'll have a big row of trees that'll separate the adult from the youth, which makes our park even a little better than what this is. If you'll notice the lighting, lighting is going to be a big issue to the public about spillover light. But if you look, you go 20 feet outside those fences and it's dark. The technology now with the lights, especially with a company that has gave us our lighting quote, those are very efficient, and the spillover light is non-existent. I mean, y'all can tell how dark it is on the outside of those areas. And
these quotes said, how long do you guarantee them for?
Most anywhere from 30 to 60 days. But now the lighting quote, they said they would make it good if we get serious about building. That unless we waited a year or two to build, that those quotes are pretty good. And she said if any of the quotes that we have go up any, it's not going to be a huge jump, I don't think. The fence quote was the most strict on my numbers, and they said that it had a 30-day price warranty because the cost of metal tends to fluctuate. But they said, but that's the options. We've got Mr. Jenkins here to give a.
I was just going to ask. Obviously, we get into the project, no matter what we do, part of grant, part of it all, we'll have to bid these things.
Yes.
So obviously you weren't able to bid these.
No.
So.
No, we were, this wasn't a bidding process. What I did was I contacted 1 or 2 companies that handled each one of the sections and got a price. And I didn't.
Did they give you a price or a range?
They basically gave me a range, and I went to the high side on all of those numbers just to be safe, because I didn't want to come in and say we can do it for 2.89 and then it be 3.2. So my numbers and Matt's numbers are very safe. We are on the upper side of everything.
A couple of things we couldn't figure were fees, like archaeological fees. We have to hire archaeologists to come back in our hotspot areas for archaeology.
That's going to be like where the concession stands are.
Possibly, yeah. And where we have to remove trees where they're inside the fields, we have to be careful with that. But we've got a daily rate from them. That's not going to be a substantial amount of money in the
So in the breakdown sheet, there's really no contingency.
There's not a contingency on that. That's all the things that were tangible that we can build. Usually you put a contingency based on that number. So that's kind of why we left the contingency out. And you know, speaking with the county manager, we think that a 10% contingency would more than handle all the fees and any problem that we roughly ran into. I think we're going to be, you know, in good shape.
My line of questioning. So if you put this to bid, in your opinion, it would come out. These prices would come out there or less.
In my opinion,
based
yes.
on the fact.
Yeah. I think that our grading costs are right on, but like I said, everything else will be what it is or less.
Where's your design permitting all that? What line item is that in?
I don't believe it's
Is that included?
the design fees are not included.
Okay. I suggest, I know where I stand on all this, if we get those numbers on there, and then what I like to see, whether I put, vote for this or not, is what is the annual ongoing expenses? If this thing's built out, if it's phase one, whatever, what's it gonna cost the county to operate this thing? How many employees?
Yeah, and I have some of that.
I'd like for that to be included, at least in my packet, and then your projected utility cost annually.
Okay.
You know, should this thing be built, what's it gonna cost the taxpayers 10 years down the road? If that can be included in some sort of document for us.
We can get it and add it to this relatively easy.
Or you
can base it on what you have now.
I can, and I know the employees that I will need out there to cover, and I know kind of how much I'll have to up my current budget to handle this facility.
Just
So
realistic numbers
yeah.
on that, just so we'll know, a projection of that utility cost, or whatever allied cost, affiliated cost, go with the maintenance of that park.
Yes.
You know.
What are you looking at as far as employees? I know.
I'm looking at roughly 3 full-time, and I'll be able to handle the rest of the things with part-time
So there'll be some
labor.
folks you got now.
Well, I'll have basically a site supervisor out there that'll be kind of a green specialist, somebody that's got a turf management degree is what I'm looking at, and then just two additional maintenance workers. But like I said, the majority of the time, and what helps us tremendously out of the rec park now is part-time labor. Those guys are $8 an hour, up to 20 hours a week, and that'll cover the majority of mowing, weeding, and that type of stuff that we need at the park. So we're not looking at a vast number of employees, but I will need at least 3 full-time.
Just the budget numbers.
Okay, I can get it to you.
And any equipment you're gonna have to buy?
Yes, we will need equipment, and that number is about $60,000 worth of equipment out there. That is not included because this is the cost to build. I mean, that's what we were working. But I've got
That would be in my policy.
yeah, I've got a couple of quotes right now just because I knew that y'all would probably want to know those type of things. So in roughly right now we're looking at about $60,000 worth of equipment. That will yeah, that'll all be new, so it'll last. That's not an ongoing every year type thing. That will be a one-time expenditure.
So a couple items. Number one, I would probably try to work on future costs, like landscape maintenance companies who would go on and maybe kind of homes, prices out there, maintenance of all their bills, and say it's a better deal than it is to do it in-house and not take consideration. And also we need budget number report. Number two has to do with aspects of traffic flow that's like put on the road system there. Just toss it back to mind. Think about that.
Yeah.
DOT
Well, and with DOT, that is a real concern for ours because Maxwell Home Road, it's kind of what they consider a secondary road. Patton Road coming in, I don't see a problem on Patton Road, and that will be the main entrance and exit out of the park. If we do the whole thing, we'll actually put up emergency ballast on the parking lot, where the big parking lot, where nobody will be up on Maxwell Home Road. That will not be an option. People will come in and out unless there's an emergency. They'll have breakaway ballast that ambulances or something like that could get over. But the access and egress will be on the Patton Road. And there's no houses or anything else in that stretch, and it's a substantially long. You know, the sight lines are good. The road is wide enough, so and we've got room up on top where we come into the road to have a good access point up on top. So DOT didn't see any problem with it whenever we've already talked to them a time or two out there, and they thought that if Patton Road was going to be the main entrance, would be the better option of the two. But you always want at least a couple of.
How would you grade these? It would just make tough to be common sense that, you know, depending on what this board decides, option 1, 2, all those things. Is it when you have the grading people out there in the infrastructure, you certainly want to do all that one.
Well, that's what they all say is once we get started, it'll cost substantially more to get them to come back 2 or 3 times. Plus, as Mr. Conley had said earlier, You don't want dozers and stuff working on one part of the property whenever you've got games and stuff
But I asked the
going on
question,
another.
you don't disturb anything, you're gonna have to. Your call is great, and once you possibly can get in all the underground wiring.
Yeah.
And I think before we make any decisions, I mean, we've got the partner grant, that's wonderful. The policy, we need to see operating numbers. And I think we need to ask the county manager, Lori, regardless of what we do. And I have a plan to pay for it, put it in the budget. We're talking about, we're heading into the budget season now. So is that reasonable to ask you guys, Lord, to take a look at that and see what our options would be?
Like you said, I think it would be a good time as part of the budget process, just to see how it factors in. Have to look for
We'll see where we're at,
how would that affect our budget, because, you know, we've got a lot of needs just Macon county-wide.
Right.
To see how it all, you know, that's a small piece of the puzzle, and it's a very important piece, but see how it all ties into our county budget.
Are all the ball fields out on the floodplain?
All except this lower field,
The red,
this
the green?
small youth field here, that's the floodplain, and this lower youth field.
And the imported field, where's that going?
Most of the imported field is gonna be taken 2 feet of subgrade out to the road parking area. Build a strong base bridge over the black.
The soils we're dealing out there need to be bridged.
What do you do with that?
We're looking at making 3-1 slope along National Home Road, paving that slope off, getting rid of those buildings.
Building some berms for landscaping around the outside edges of the fields.
To make as much of it mowable as we possibly can.
There's one field, this upper green field here is also in the green.
Yeah.
Or it's in the floodplain, but there's not gonna be any imported field in the floodplain.
Or the floodway.
No, there's nothing in the floodway.
Except for that, the entire rec park now is a floodway.
It is. Everywhere we've got. And I have witnessed when the rec park is underwater and the industrial park's underwater. I actually drove to the river. Me and Kevin did the exact same thing. We actually drove to the river on this park, and it's dry.
It flows the other way, it feels, it goes
Yeah,
across the
yes. Yeah, our side of the river is higher than the other side of the river.
Good presentation.
Thank you,
job.
And like I said, we've got Tommy Jenkins to, I'll get those numbers
Well, I think
to y'all.
if we get that, and then Lori, if you guys could work in some.
We ain't got our work session Saturday.
Yeah.
You'll have them by Saturday. Or you'll have them.
As far as the permit that we get from them.
Yeah, his success budget already.
We need to vote.
You need to vote to let us.
Regardless of what we do, we need to do that. Is that not me?
Yes. We need to get started because by the time we get the permit, we'll be well into the.
Motion to approve to allow the rec park to take their assessed budget, go ahead and get the permit process started on phase.
Already over phase 1 and phase 2. Now the options are different, but we've got phase 1 and phase 2.
Go ahead and get the permit process started.
Feel that you, in that, authorize the manager to sign.
He's certainly.
We have a second motion by Commissioner Haven. In discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. So, Matt, can you get that started? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, gentlemen and ladies. First of all, I want to give you a quick review after Matt assessed a report on economic impact. You all probably seen this report once before last year, but I thought it'd be good to review it again. So basically, right now in existing softball and baseball facilities, you can see what we have. 3 youth fields, 2 adults, 1 youth in Highlands, 1 youth in Mount Haley, and 1 T-ball in Colosseum. Our current field uses, the fields are used from everybody from age 4 to 84, 6 leagues, and last fall there were 92 teams using those size league. So you can see what we got. It's quite a bit of use. Expansion benefits, of course, for our citizens of the county, a better game schedule, improved practice facilities, room for more league growth, more players than we have. One thing that probably didn't talk a whole lot about is a healthier community. You have more people involved in sports and using the park. That leads to a healthier community and actually lower healthcare costs eventually. And number one reason that I was asked to do is tournament destination for tournaments for economic development. That's a little way out there. While recreation facilities are built for to serve the local population, such that these facilities can have a positive impact on the area's economic development as an athletic tournament destination. And as Mr. Caldwell said, there are several other folks that said this evening, we're in a prime position to take advantage of that, given our location and the fact that there are no other facilities close by who could offer what we could offer with the full package. So we're looking at developing a softball and baseball tournament destination. First of all, to draw people, you have to build a first-class facility, which we've seen in the plans. It certainly seems to be one. How are you going to fill this facility? You're going to work with people like Mr. Caldwell, other promoters, organizations such as the Independent Softball Association, United States Specialty Sports Association, and others to bring these tournaments to Macon County. On the 2014 tournament impact formula, you can see you have 24 teams, 25 people per team, players, coaches, fans. That turns out to be 600 for the tournament. They stay 2 days, so you double that to 1,200. 1,200 times 125 for lodging and meals and fuel comes out to 150 in your community. And if any of y'all have had kids and done any traveling in sports, you know you're lucky if you get by for $125 a day. But we want to go with a more conservative figure. The common rollover multiplier used by the studies I've seen is a 1.73. That's right below end. I've seen go as high as up to 3.5, 4 on the rollover. So basically, your total economic impact on a one weekend tournament will be $259,000. That's dollars that are going out to communities, it's going out to your businesses, your motels, your restaurants, going out to paying people who go out in the community and spend that money again and again and again. Now, what I have not factored in, and there will be some income on this, is what you charge for the fields, the concessions, and such as that. So that's not included in this. Of course, if you're not a math major like I'm not, if you had a 48-team tournament, you just double those figures. So larger the tournament, the more total economic impact. 48-team tournament would be somewhere around 519,000. This isn't exact science. These are pretty much conservative.
I've got a question, maybe Mike can answer this, or Seth. With the fields we have, if you had a tournament, you could utilize all 8 of those fields whenever complete. Let's say a girls softball tournament, you could accommodate and use the existing fields we have directly. How many teams could you accommodate?
You figure about 12 teams per field for a weekend. That's all you can get in. No more than 12 teams per field.
And you got 11 fields.
So if you had an adult softball tournament, it'd be 48
with just at this site, but we've got additional. You know,
if you had a men's tournament, you can have 48.
We have 48 teams at that site, but now if we use the existing fields that we've got now too, that's adding another 24 teams to it.
And then hotel rooms we got.
We're somewhere around 350, 400, somewhere in that figure. Now that's somewhere around 350. And there are, folks can stay out of town and close in and come on in, like Clayton.
Well, the waves will ever stand all the way to West High School.
Well, the reason I'm asking, I've talked to somebody who maybe had kids in it, but there was a 80-team tournament what is that, Wayne last?
It was in Haywood County, but they used every field in Haywood County and quite a few in Buncombe County last year. I don't know if there was anybody that.
They used Buncombe County and Haywood County.
Yeah.
Every little field they had of.
There was people that would literally have to drive almost an hour to go to their next game, and we can do it all within 10 minutes of each other.
What sort of revenue can Macon County expect from hosting tournaments between the concessions and things that
The use is going to be, basically, we've got to get very competitive to be able to keep the guys want to come here. I mean, guys like Mike, not speaking for Mike, but those guys will go to the cheapest place to be able to host. Where we'll make our money is on the concession stand. The county is going to run concession stand in the middle of each one of these fields. And like Mike said earlier, I mean, that's anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 a weekend of just straight revenue that we put in our pockets. That's not counting the economic impact to the rest of the town and county.
That would be revenue to the
That's straight.
county. It's something nobody's mentioned.
That's a straight deposit back into the county.
As far as the revenue back to the taxpayers is sales tax.
Yes.
On this money, and this money's 95% of this money is coming from people outside Macon County. But they're paying sales tax on what they eat, and motel rooms. And that kind of thing.
I mean,
that's the impact of that.
We have the sales tax also, but that multiplies too.
And we went through, this year, we built something nice here, which we did this summer. We did the pool. We went from making about $20,000 a year to over $60,000 a year. So people, if you build it, they will come.
If people stays online, there's 3% tax comes back to the county and 3% back to the town and tourism.
That's what I'm saying, that's not even been, I'm not going to mention.
Yeah, that's not factored in.
The bigger tournaments, and I've thought about, you said Cherokee's got the full plates, I played over there,
Right.
some of your tournaments, and Clayton's got the full plates, right?
Yeah.
Would there be a potential to have tournaments where Franklin would be the center of that, and you would have games in those locations and wind up?
You could do that.
I'm just saying, that'd be.
It's feasible, yeah.
And Seth, you can testify that we've had an opportunity to have several state tournaments here. They wanted to come here.
Yeah, and we didn't have to sit.
For many for a long time, and we just don't have to.
2 years ago, we could have hosted the 15 and 16-year-old All-Stars for Little League, the regional finals, which aired on ESPN for 3 days. They showed all those games on ESPN, and we were 1 300-foot field short from getting to host that tournament.
I think if you look, these impact numbers are just for one weekend. That doesn't factor in when somebody brings their family in, they like what they see, and they come back later on, like vacation to the area. So, it's got some lasting effect beyond just that weekend.
The grandparents I've talked to, so they feel that love. And they said it's amazing for these people.
Any questions?
Anything else?
For the Gary's grading and for lots of contracting contacts. And it really is a paperwork requirement to reconcile the contracts so that the county can then close them out and ask for final reimbursements on the
And
funding.
including the fact we had to spend this money.
Excuse me?
This was from Gary's grading, you can do the work, correct? I mean, he was giving somebody else to do the work, is that right?
Most of the decrease on the change order of Gary's grading was to move that work for the reclaimed water system to Watson Contract. That's why there's a Watson Contracting contract, is because.
So the money was spent, most of it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Well, it's not credit. We can still, somebody pay the money,
It's a credit for that contract, that's right.
but the money was spent.
Absolutely.
As you define a fee.
Well, as I said, it's really a paperwork requirement at the end of the project is to reconcile the contract.
Was this finalize Gary's grading obligation to Macon County?
It does.
He's fixed everything he's supposed to fix?
with the exception of 2 items on the change order, which we moved into Watson contractor's contract because it was more economical. Have a local contractor do it. So there's 2 items that need to be completed on the Watson contractor's contract, and then all the work will be completed.
Good to see you, Matt. On the Vanderwood, or not Vanderwood, the Rodenheimer property down there, I think we shot you an email or something, and we've been here a long time ago, at Rio Rapids, Springside.
There's a requirement in the easement for that property that was negotiated after the project was bid, when that easement was negotiated between the county and that property owner. So it was never part, as you know, Paul, it was never part of the Gary's grading contract because of a concern as to whether or not there would be sufficient funds to put a riprap on that bank. The former county manager, Mr. Horton, had asked that nothing be done with that to resolve that as part of the Gary's grading contract. So that is still something that the county, an obligation that the county has to do, unless they were to somehow negotiate something different with the property owner. There is a requirement in that easement for that bank to have riprap on it.
Yeah, it's part of the easement agreement signed by both parties, so we're obligated, and they still want it done. So we're gonna have to take that up. That's what we approved Price Bank. There's 2 parts to that, a little section out there's got to be filled, and like 100 feet pipe put in or something, so we'll.
Right.
And then Lanier, did they get paid for their, that $77,000? You don't think
They've gotten paid for part of that. Lanier is a subcontractor to Gary's grading who did some of the pump station work. They got paid for part of that, and the rest of their payment, Gary's grading has committed to basically take really all of their final payment that they will get after this final change order is approved. That final payment that will go to Gary's grading, what I've been told by Gary's grading and in writing in an email, is that essentially all that money is going to go as the balance to pay off their subcontractor. As far as I know, they're still in business.
You don't have to.
They just signed this change order.
A lien release or anything saying that all subs have been paid prior to final agreement.
What lien release says is that all subs have been paid except for anything that needs to be paid out of the final retainage, which is what we're holding on them right now. And they have signed that.
Do we have any on twisting to make sure that Lanier gets paid?
Not unless you want to have a meeting of the minds and people passing checks at the meeting. That's about the only thing I know you could do.
Issue the checks to pay.
Yeah, and that's it.
Whatever needs to do, but I'm afraid Lanier's gonna get stuck. They've done waiting, what, 2 years on this now? Year and a half, long time.
Depends on who you talk to, but yeah.
I just wanna make sure that if that's standard practice, let's make them, I don't want them to, these boys have been on my back. Is that something we can
ask Gary, and Gary's would probably agree with that, too, I guess, because they told them that's what we can do with money anyway.
Has the updated plans been submitted to the county with changes?
No, we're working on those.
When will those be done?
Within the month, probably.
Might make it easy.
No, within about a month, probably. About a month, I'd say.
So we met, I met this week with the first time we spoke about with the Chandler. They're about to do some more work down there, so we just didn't know, there's some manholes down there, and without seeing those final plans, because there was some things changed about that. And so we met this week, and we're going to do some work right there, so we want to make sure that whatever we do, so Mike, you'll come over.
If there is a need to see one certain part of the project right now, obviously it's a large project, that's why it takes a little bit of time to get all the changes.
Changed right in there, so with the berm, where the old berm is.
Yeah, we can, if we need to do those changes first, we can do that. We can get those drawings to you.
Great.
The county has to say that, or you discuss that with them?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Action. We vote to authorize change order.
2 items. There has 2 separate agenda items related to the preliminary phase of the lot. So we do need action to approve those change orders.
Do that.
motion. All right, you guys know the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve both of them.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10B, under new business. Change order, let's see, consideration of lease renewal.
Gentlemen, I passed out to you before the meeting a proposed resolution in connection with that lease as well as a proposed lease. Each of you should have a copy.
We do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a continuation, excuse me, for our second-year lease on a 3-year program with Drawbridge Secure Networks. They completed their first year at Business Development Center, and with their annual survey, they're on track with what they projected the first year. So we're excited to have them out there. They're excited about growing some this year too. So we're looking forward to that, and I need your approval. We need your approval to consider.
How many square foot is that on the page?
I've got the lease somewhere.
150 a month.
Yeah.
That's what it was last year.
Yes, the same. Yeah, we're keeping them low, same route after 3 years.
And this is not increasing the square footage.
No, it's not increasing. It's the same exact.
Continuation.
It's a continuation.
They still pay utilities.
Yes, sir.
Internal upkeep or whatever we handle outside the grounds.
Right. That's it. No changes since they were.
They put on any more?
They put on one. And they're
Second. With motion approved, second. All in favor, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That lease is approved. Tom, thank you for continuing to do a good job there. That's economic development.
Thanks, Tom.
We have a request, D is consideration of Macon County Public Health fee schedule. Jim Bruckner, I don't see Jim, is somebody here today?
He has a stand in.
Ah, damn.
Japanese encephalitis. When you were looking at that, what that is a travel vaccine, because we're the only facility west of Asheville that offers vaccines for international travel, and Japanese encephalitis is one of the recommended vaccines. What we would like to do is add that to our fee list, and we would like to request that the recipients pay up front, since it is a very expensive drug. The other one is MI paste, and what that is for the visits and the follow-up treatments as well.
How long have you offered that Japanese vaccine?
We have not started offering it yet. We wanted to present
Is
it.
it for you ever right? You pay more than that for?
And probably then, yeah.
Go to India.
Yeah, it's a 2-shot series.
Is it required? I guess it's required.
For certain areas in the world, yes.
India is required.
We won't keep that stock.
No, it would be pre-order. It would be like our rabies vaccine.
A couple of days, order out of 2-day turnaround or something probably.
And then you'll see the lab fees there, and if you'll just kind of glance over those, most of those are reduction in prices, and that's a result from our premier contract with LabCorp, and we just want to pass the savings on to the public.
The latter decreases, the later increases.
Correct.
And the Board of Health put this.
They have, and they have approved.
Motion approved.
We have a motion and a second to approve the changes as presented, the fee schedule. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Diane.
We get to need enough money, we'll charge people that vaccine, I go through October.
The E is Iowa playground discussion. Gary Brown. Oh, there he is. Let's see Gary. Welcome.
Chairman, Commissioners, I won't take much of your time. It's a very primitive PowerPoint.
Redneck.
It sort of is.
You got the last slide?
Last slide is highlighted.
Cameron's holding the sheet, sorry.
It's just a simple one sheet deal. And what I want to do is just give you some brief outline of what we've purchased so far with our PTO funds and with your help last year as we occupied the new building. And that's the top three pictures, what you see are just three pieces of the equipment we got. The top picture is in one of our pre-K and kindergarten playground areas between the wings. It's fairly simple, you know, the artificial turf there has got the proper fall height and fall protection, so you can get a freestanding piece. We got a couple of those. And then the large piece of equipment that you see in the second picture down is the biggest piece of equipment we got last year, largely in part to, or in thanks to your support. And then the third piece, our PTO, the swing set at the bottom, is an 8-piece swing set. And I put the prices, those are fairly rough, but they're pretty close amounts there for those pieces of equipment. The mulch for those things is, you know, you look at the equipment and you look at the catalog and they're fairly reasonable. But when you start looking at the safety requirements and the amount of mulch and the price of that, it really gets expensive and freight, and then installation costs added in, it adds up fairly quickly. I do want you to know that the PTO at Iowa Valley has been active and really doing all that they can. I guess they've raised north of $20,000 over the last year and a half. The biggest part of that has gone to help with the purchase of this, and they've got some money on hand. The bottom picture, we're thinking something along those lines for a final large piece of equipment, and that's a wooden structure, and I'd like to do some more investigation of that. We could go with a more traditional piece. The wood is a little less expensive, actually. There'd be some upkeep with that, those we would be concerned about. But looking at a price of roughly installed with the mulch of about $40,000. And I'm asking the commissioners for your consideration for an amount up to that, or what you see fit to help us with.
Lord, what's left? We talked back to this, and I wasn't on the board then, so nobody allocated for the playground, and sort of was way to the end of the project. What's left in that project?
About 67,000.
How much?
67.
Did you went to school board with this, Gary?
I talked to Dr. Baldwin and got his blessing on coming here.
Was he going to include that in his presentation? I mean, he did not, there were a liaison meeting. He didn't include this, he had another list of
Right.
things, but
He and I talked, and it was his suggestion that I approach the county commission for that.
And Gary did talk to me about it. He plays on the school board, and I talked to Dr. Baldwin about it as well.
we got anything else outstanding that we know of on that?
I've got money set aside for the outstanding
Carol?
Yes.
Yeah. But that's not,
I have money set aside.
and that's out of it.
That's not included in that
That's not
total.
included in what I'm saying is left. I've
The
already,
67 is
it's clear money, yes.
When you need 40, Gary?
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, it's the right thing to do, just allocate that. That was my understanding, the board, this board, nor the school board designated any money for playground equipment. That PTO has raised a tremendous amount of money.
They worked hard, and my conversations with Mr. Bell, Terry Bell, as we were going through the process, was typically that the playground money would be if there's money left over after the project. And it does take time for the contingencies to see what's left over, and, oh, yes, we need to do this or that, plumbing project or whatever. But I think we've reached a point, or I hope we've reached a point where most of that is cleared, and it really, just to be honest, it frees our PTO up a little bit to help us. You guys, we come to you with school budgets all the time. It's as bad as I've been in my career in Macon County, just in terms of instructional supply and help at the school level. So it does free up PTO funds to help us some with some flexible money for that type of thing, if all of the energy is not going to this.
This is on the bottom right here, what you're asking.
Yes, sir, that's what we're looking at, or we could go with a more traditional piece like you see in that second picture down. But there's some attractiveness. That bottom piece sort of encloses the students, and I'm looking for that bottom piece for more our kindergarten, first and second grade on the opposite end of the playground, where this is, to separate them from our older ones. And some of you may have seen with kids or grandkids, little enclosures. The factory's got one where you can climb up in, and it's in sort of an enclosed type thing. A little safer, really, just in terms of what meets the eye. And so we're looking at that for our first and second graders primarily.
We've got money, okay, that was budget for that,
At 40,000.
Not to exceed 40,000.
And could we ask Lori that we just, rather than just pay that, we take that contingency and designate it as for the playground, and that way when you get the equipment, you get it there, then we can pay that out.
Yeah, I think the way we did the last round, we appropriated 50,000 for equipment. I think we tried to work in conjunction with the school to make sure that we got proper quotes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the county actually issued a purchase order, ordered the equipment, and paid directly.
Has Terry worked on, Gary, has Terry Bill worked on pricing on this stuff?
On this, no, sir. It's me or our PTO.
So we have, Mr. Hay made a motion, we have a second motion.
Second.
Second from Mr. Bill. I would say, I've talked to Mr. Brown about this extensively, talked to Mr. Baldwin about it, and this is priority, and this is money left in that project, so I would, as late as on the school, I would recommend
So you've got these three pieces already, right?
it. Yes, yeah, the top three.
And we purchased this, where does that put us in comparison to South Macon, Arctic and J? I know it's different age groups and all that.
It's pretty close. That gets us a lot closer, and this is just in my business going to those campuses. Of course, they've been there for some years. Somewhere down the road, when they look at a basketball, outdoor basketball court or that type thing, our space is a little more limited back there, though, and so I'm not sure we've quite got the room for that, but that would put us a lot closer to where.
But we're not way above those other
No,
schools.
sir, no, I'd say we'd probably still be a little
Still
below,
not quite.
actually.
And those were funded during construction.
They were all, and I was on the school board during that, we budgeted those items in the project, and this one did not.
Should have been.
Well, not necessarily. What happened was, during those discussions, is that the money was so tight to build the school. We had so many things to do with this school that these other schools didn't have to contend with. And so when the playground equipment come up, like Mr. Bell said, and you see, we didn't have the money left over. We was hoping we'd have 250,000, that was the goal. So it didn't say playground equipment, but it wasn't because we weren't discussing.
Any other discussion on the motion?
I just want to clarify, so the county is going
Well, me and he can put up towers down there.
to just get in touch with Mr. Brown and share any quotes you may have or specs so that we can properly fit it.
And that come out of that leftover money. Eventually, that's where the contingency out of that project.
And we still have about $27,000.
They'll be needed by the end of
We'll be asking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion, gentlemen?
Is everything else working well at the school here?
Yes, sir, we are feeling comfortable there now. We're just taking probably every bit of the year to know our way around and know where that stuff is. That I've often tell we that I need to get my hands on right now. We can find it. So thank you. It really is. We appreciate it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Gary, thank you for the good job.
Brown, appreciate all you're doing down there.
Thanks, sir.
Gentlemen, still quite a few items. Anybody need a break? At this point, let's take about a 10-minute recess. Be back. Sure. Let's go is
sir. I'm representing the Macon County Historical Society. We're inquiring about a couple of retired Macon County transit vans that you can see out here in the lot. I had talked with Larry Conley about those vans, and we understand that they are in need of some repairs. The Historical Society had agreed to make those repairs. If you could see fit to, so if you could donate to the Historical Society.
To be able to speak to that, I know to the extent that those are transit vans, before you can commit to making a donation, we're going to need to look at where the funds can purchase those to the extent grant money was used. I know a number of those grants by their terms require that at the end of their life, those need to be surfaced and sold as opposed to getting it. So we're going to need to check.
Okay. We didn't say how much, could be good.
Yeah, could be. In fact, I think the last round, I think they put those out on gov deals and sold them
They brought $200 or $300. I think I remember $200.
Whatever the scrap is what you brought.
I would be in favor of investigating that, what it'd be, what we need to do.
we need to check with CMA about that, because there are some grant requirements, and they're very serious.
I mean, you need, there's one of them better than the other, Joe.
Yes, one of these is the need of transmission.
You talk to Sling about it, and you know what's what.
We're looking to maybe get both of them if possible.
And they can make one out of two.
Maybe.
Joe White just tell us what made that thing fit the county by this time.
Well, with inquiring the Cali school now, we have transported people back and forth from there, and we also, I don't know if anybody have taken the tours that we have here at the offering and doing historical tours here in town, and they want to contribute more to that outside the town limits and transport people and tell them the history of Macon County and Franklin, and so that's what we were looking to use those for.
We certainly use it when we have the open house in the county.
Appreciate you.
So we'll put that, are they on there now, Lori?
No, sir, they've not.
How long does it have to run? 60 days, 30 days?
It's not a long period of time, but like Chester said, the first step is we have to verify if they will follow the grant funds. Usually they have to be surplus, and any of the surplus proceeds have to go back to the transit budget to speak.
So how would y'all know if they want to bid on it?
We usually list it on the county website. We say we have some items that they want to go deals.
I think Lindsay handled that in the past, and we can certainly.
Joe has to work, but Robbie Shook is out every day, so.
Do you have some identifying information on those two particular units?
I know one of them is number 95,
Okay.
and the other one, I don't remember the number of it.
Since that's
Yeah.
public property, then there's a process that we've talked about, a disposal. There is, and there's a whole set of rules in there. One of those rules does allow the county to make some concessions to 501c3s that are going to be carrying out public purpose with the utilization of that property. So there is a little bit of an exception there for the situation for Joe. If you've got property that's not encumbered with some other set of rules.
But anyway, we have to declare it surplus and go through whatever process.
Correct.
So who you going to tell, Joe to tell Robert? Joe's going to tell Robert to call somebody, who's going to call him?
Yeah, I think he's going to need to speak to Kim Angel. She minds those P's and Q's pretty well.
And I've spoken to Kim regarding this issue before, Joe, and she's aware of his call, and she was on the call ready before we ended up.
Okay.
And she was going to get back.
Will you contact Robert?
Absolutely.
County manager to head office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
You have a good night.
Consideration of fire contract for the town of Franklin, county attorney and fire marshal Jimmy King.
This is my recommendation.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Okay.
All these contracts are basically say the contents are. We run into a little problem when we were doing a 9S inspection with Office State Fire Marshal and Nantahala that we didn't have the automatic mutual aid. So Chester got that in there about the automatic mutual aid. We also put in November of 2008, I believe it was, where you approved the board had approved the maps for the fire district. So that's actually in the contract now. And I believe that was all changed inside the contract except for the verbiage on Highlands and Franklin, since they're municipality departments, and Scaly Mountain, which is incorporated in Georgia.
Some of these contracts, as Mr. Teams indicated, are essentially an update from contracts which were done in what year?
Well, some of the departments were working off a 1998 contract and 2001 contracts.
And Mr. Team brought these to my attention and indicated that due to some changes at the state level and otherwise, we needed to make these changes. And he fortunately was able to help show me with precision the changes he needed, and I think we've got him in the shape he needs them in.
I think that is, it looks good to me.
So it's just housekeeping.
Hey, Jimmy, looking through these and you know, we had a problem with workers' compensation. You know, we had a situation in Park Chapel. But now looking through these, it looks like they all have workers' comp.
They all have.
Have we worked any on the umbrella deal, Jimmy? Has that moved anywhere? Has anybody made any progress?
It really hasn't.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. There's stuff changing with each of these departments literally every day. I had a meeting this morning with Bob Fry in the town of Highlands about some stuff going on in the Highlands department. It's incessant. Something that I've got to give Jimmy props and Chester both for working through these. This has been an ongoing process for 6 months or longer now. I think it was. From going from every department, fire commission meetings to chiefs, and back fire commission to chiefs to Chester, back to the town attorneys, and back to Chester, and then back to scaling. It's been all over the board. Based upon all of this, I'm comfortable with the wording and what all it says. We have been studying hard. Is it perfect? Probably not, but it's as close as it probably can be. Yeah, all of them. So I'm going to recommend we probably approve all at one time unless you see.
And that's good. And just as soon as I can get these signed to you all and by the department stuff, I've got to send these to Raleigh so that they will have a good contract.
You set this up for the county manager to sign or chairman?
It is Kevin Gordon.
Okay.
Mike Beck.
All departments certified then.
All of them are. We just went through an inspection 2 weeks ago, and we had a couple departments with some deficiencies, but they all are still in good standing with the county and the state. They're a 9S/9E.
Are they minor deficiencies?
They're minor. I mean, one of them was like you got to show 12 months of truck maintenance records. And I'm sure they were doing truck maintenance record. They wasn't documenting it right, and they couldn't show them 12 months. So he's going to come back in a year and look at that department's records. But they were minor.
You don't have any rate increases as a result of any of those?
No. This is just a basic. They have to pass this here to get the 9S. That's a protection class. That's just a basic.
That doesn't give you a reduction?
No, but we all took classes while he was here, and we've got 4 departments that are eligible to and that are hopefully going to go for a reduction. And it's an 8B. It's basically passing this inspection that we just went through, and then doing a scene setup with the pumpers, and it's very simple.
Macon's different.
Oh, yeah. This one would probably, 8B would, like at my house, would probably, instead of $1,000 policy, I would probably have about a $900, my premium. I'd say about $100.
I think in the outline like Birmingham.
Okay.
I've got that on my notes to-do list as one of the next topics we're going to be attacking after we do it.
previous contracts. Personally, is only looking at the efficiency of departments and how our fire department system is run countywide. I think there's a better way to do it. There's a better way to spend taxpayer dollars, so there's a better way to do keep everybody's insurance rates down, which keeps money in their back pockets as well. But that's just something that's going to have to be studied. I mean, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. I'm hoping points, the good points and bad points, pros and cons are weighed, with the good points that way. We're looking into the new fire systems.
And one thing's going to go through is I've actually went through this inspection with all the departments. This is the first time that I've actually went through all of them. I know what they're looking for now, and I've been getting all their records for each department and put it in a notebook for them. This is what you have for an inspection. Make it a little easier.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Good motion second. Mr. Mayor, you can review these and you're okay with it? Yes, sir. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Jimmy, appreciate it. Hard work. J is consideration of topics for planning board discussion. Commissioner Tate.
Yes, the planning board is basically wrapped up on the items that we've had on the task list, except for some of the items which we put on hold due to our state legislature. So they're looking for something to do. They're an advisory board for this board, so we use them for basically whatever type need we request of them. I had two items on my list. One of them came from tonight. The other one I had on my list. That is that number one being that I think it might be a good topic for them to study the utilities, water sewer systems throughout the county, both in Highlands and the Franklin area, and look at where we are now, where we might be going in the future, where potential areas of development might be, so that we might be able to prepare our infrastructure down the road. And the second thing that I had on the list was maybe looking into Parker Meadows a little bit more, looking at traffic patterns, or if they have any thought processes on what's going to go there. But other than that, I'm kind of at a standstill waiting unless somebody else has some direction, but I didn't want to point them in any direction without y'all's consent on where we go. So that's where we are. And we will be, they have finished up the vacant property list, and I'm hoping to maybe get that on our February.
Is the board seem anxious, Jimmy, to really do some planning then?
They do. I think they enjoyed that being, when they weren't just studying rules and regulations. I think they enjoyed studying it. I wish Matt was here to talk a little more about it. That's okay. So I think so, and I think they would take these other topics under hand. But again, if any of you gentlemen have any other thoughts on all areas, on if there's anything we feel like we need to study.
Well, I want to throw something in on water and sewer. I think that we need to do a little bit of study on that. Or no, I shouldn't say a little bit. We need to do a lot of study on that. I think on that part of Memphis, we need to get a little bit more information for us to discuss in here. I don't know exactly how I'm trying to say this. I think we need to talk this over before we can do before we have a plan. And I mean, am I being hard to say it that way?
Sure.
Because
and the other thought on that, Ron, would be is if we want to use them to help garner any information that we might need.
I'd like to look for.
I'm not looking for them to say yes we should buy or yes or no we shouldn't buy. It'd be
well, I didn't vote for the purchase of that property on the price. It's not against the project. I'm for the project, yeah. It's something like Kevin told me one time out there with board, didn't vote for something, said, was some guy, he didn't vote for it. The church said next morning, he's first one out there to show, said, I didn't think you liked that idea, yet you voted for it, let's go.
Okay.
Well, that's sort of what we are here, but I'm still interested in studying about every dime we can save on this project. That's an important big step, and see what we can afford it. And I'd like for us, we got to vote yes on it, but I'd like for us to discuss and figure out sort of Well, that's good.
There's a lot of other things in the world, so you know, going around when you get those people close this year. Maybe a lot of those people are, they're still importing water, you know, they get that out of the wells. Or, you know, things that run to the airport one of these days, that way we can catch the new school.
I think that's good, and it might be good. It might help clear all our minds.
Who's the town administrator down there, since you're down there?
I don't think they have one. I'd say Mr. Cave or you probably, Summer Wood do that in the absence of somebody.
You don't have to be a player when you say water and sewer, unless we get in the business, they have to be a player.
Yeah, that's good. I know too, like Ronnie was discussing nowadays, people saying cancer rate's real high through Randy Gap, and they talking about any water.
They approach us every year.
Yeah, the other item, and Darren will love this one, it's not gonna be far off when we come to review the comprehensive plan.
Just when you were saying that, I was thinking, there's an infrastructure element in the comprehensive plan, maybe that could be grouped in, because that's kind of the central planning document. So we're talking about infrastructure, maybe they do it in the light of that section of the comprehensive plan, just to keep everything together.
And another thing I hear a lot about is speed limits. And I know this is way out there.
Yeah, that go out there and
That speed limit in Macon County. It's 45 up by the direct. No, there's no where the direct's at. It's 35 out there, 4. It's 35 out river. I mean, these are minor things, but this is something for taxpayers. You go over to Andrews, it's 60 miles an hour. And 60, you know, their 4 lanes is 60 miles an hour. With red lights, ours is 55. Now we've got deputy sheriffs and cops and state troopers out there with radar and all, you know, I mean, but is there any way that we could ever look at maybe some sort of, and I know a lot of this is state, county, city. City regulates speed limits, has input.
Just on the city streets.
On city streets, yeah.
That's all, maybe there are a few of them.
But it's just,
Well, it's just like when you go home.
It's
You go
35.
45, you go 45 right there when you come to the Depot Street extension, you get down there, and for 0.01 miles, it's 35 miles an hour.
Now, that's been changed, they just had to change the sign.
So they did.
They're still right here.
They did change it. It's already up.
Oh, did that?
The signs got changed like 2 or 3
The
weeks
speed
ago.
going on right
it's
there.
35 point.
It's 45 all the way up to 28 now.
All the way to the red light to 50.
All the way.
From, but not from town though.
Yes.
It's 45, that was 35 coming in, right?
It's changed now. They changed the signs.
It's 45 coming in?
I asked about that last year. The town voted on it 4 years ago and they never changed the signs. They finally changed the signs about 3 weeks ago.
Well, it's still 35 coming in, 45 going out then, I think. Unless they changed that sign the last day or two.
I saw it on the way in here. It was 45.
Today.
I think so.
I mean, it's just like there's some
Run
guy
about
down in
60 going home,
Raleigh.
you'll find out.
Some guy down in Raleigh looked at it and said, oh, this needs to be 35. Out to the airport. I mean, from the double branches to the airport is 35 miles an hour. It's 45 uptown here. And they talk about progress. Now, all these new roads, how it affects commerce, how it improves commerce. That $75 billion extension we got down Bryson City's got 3 red lights on it. They dropped the speed limit from 55 to 45, and that improves commerce? Give me a break. Come up with a better idea.
Talk about speed limits, I remember, it's kind of off when they changed everywhere to 55. I drove a tractor and trailer and they all averaged driving about 85. That was one state, the speed limit's 80. And truck driver said his darn mad he couldn't stand it, so had him coming back to 65, so don't rate the speed, go down the hill, push the clutch in, he said Texas flat all the way across.
I don't know, that's just a pet peeve.
We don't have any input in that, do we?
No, we could get some sort of standard. I don't know. It's just, I don't know who's the guy in Raleigh or who calls the shot on, oh, we're gonna make this section 35 today.
DOT, yeah, you start with the screen down, with the, you took the section. So you start with the lead engineer and screen, get that right direction.
Anyway, that's my rant for today.
Can't answer it.
So far, but hell no.
So, just, if it's okay with y'all, we'll direct them to review utilities and infrastructure more than development. For you. Thank you. Keep me busy for 3 months.
The next item is our consent agenda. Includes minutes, budget amendments, so on and so forth. Any
One
items?
more agenda. item.
Two more.
Well, Lisa Leather, but she's not here.
You got, I think, Arnie wants to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. To consideration waiver of inspection fees.
We had some other reports. Jimmy's got one, I know.
On that one right there, Mr. Chairman, I had, being on the reach board, I had spoken with them in the meeting this week, and they were trying to do all they could do to, I guess, close a big gap on putting together a deal on something, some plans that they had, and they were looking at building something. And they asked me if I could, or if the county would waiver inspection fees, and I left this, I said, I need to bring it before the board and ask, and at the same time, I had talked to Chester, and I'm gonna have Chester make a comment on that.
Yeah. With respect to those building permit fees, gentlemen, we need to understand that we got an ordinance in Macon County that basically says those permits cannot issue until those fees are paid. Now, that's our ordinance, and y'all, on the board passed that ordinance, and the board can amend that ordinance or change that ordinance. But I think we've got to follow our ordinance as it is right now, unless and until y'all amend and change.
Well, this has been brought up for many times. If every nonprofit, if every church in Macon County, once you set that precedent and the building inspection, and especially on a project like this, will be under state guidelines, and every I needs to be dotted. We met with, I'm going back Friday to Raleigh to meet with them again, the Housing Finance Authority, and I think if we start that precedent, then when Holly Springs come, Oakville Church comes for a permit, or any church, any nonprofit, once you start that process,
You're right.
you
You're all,
can't pick and choose.
They're all equally worthy for consideration in that kind of approach.
But REACH is to follow, what Ronnie said, REACH is, they have been a plan put together, we met again today, try to give them a much better place. They do have some property, of course, out on 64, and where they're located now, those involved in REACH like Ronnie is, and I was for many years, of course, it's full tonight. It's full every night, and unfortunately, but they need a safe place for these folks. Hopefully, there's something to work out with you. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Hayes. Okay, real quick report, Mr. Chairman. Are you going to talk about the paint and blue? Jimmy?
We both can. Yeah.
Well, where it is, the paint in lieu of taxes, if you don't know, has been, that's a federal program, and it's been tossed around back and forth in committee. We met on it in Raleigh last Friday and had a long discussion with our delegation. They wrote letters from senators, and still haven't heard from Senator Byrd on the subject, get her from Senator Hagan. Congressman Meadows, we have a letter, I don't know if you have a new letter.
I didn't.
But of course, he's in full support. That would be about 300 and what to us?
Last fiscal year, we got 339,342 the year before.
Now, if you remember, this was a penalty year where the state told us they figured it wrong and penalized us, right? So, but it is a big deal. Now, 300 grand is a big deal to our county.
it's a bigger deal than Swain County.
Well, I mean, they have smaller budgets, but you take Graham County census, they have $11 million budget. You take $350,000 out of their budget. I mean, it's huge to all of us, but that discussion continues. The last I heard from Raleigh was that hopefully it was looking positive that was going to be excluded from that discussion and hopefully passed. Jimmy, is that the last you heard?
That's the last I heard, and I was just going to make a point that the upcoming Tennessee international, the NACO conference, that probably is one of our primary.
And that is one of the primary topics of the NATO conference. We'll all be meeting with our, not only with our representatives, but representatives from rural counties, which is really one of hers, so.
Very important.
And that's set up and we'll be
And
doing that.
I do have a meeting set up with Congress committees on that trip. So.
We have one set up for Senator Hagan, Senator Burr, if you can find him, is he still in office? Okay. If you can find him, let me. Okay. We have one set up with her, and with Mark Meadows has been. Just a few other things to know about the short session coming up. It starts May 14th. We estimate the time limit for the short session for 4 to 6 weeks. Some things that's going to be on that agenda that we're going to be talking about. Kevin's part of is on the goal side of it. Number one is we are going to really push to try to get the lottery money back. Not only the 40%, at least get that, the 40%. It hurts us, it hurts a lot of others. Another one is 911 funds to give us more flexibility in how that money is spent. That looks like we do that. That looks fairly positive. We can have a conversation. I'm not going to say that it looks that we can do it. The next thing, which there's a lot of things to worry about too, but we're also going to be working on to have more effective second primary elections. The election workers here, they still tell you what that costs. You have to have a runoff. And how that could be restricted, they could be that much. The county pays for that, and it would be very expensive. So that's some of the things that we're working on. This week we're going to go back to bring you up to speed on where we're at with the LMEs, local management entities. We will be meeting. It looks like that Smoky is going now. We'll go down to Guilford County. That's how many counties it will encompass. That's going to be our area. Myself and Mandy Stone are representatives for this area, so we don't know. We don't know how it's going to be, or it's going to be. That is going to be your LME. It's going to encompass everything from Cherokee County to where it touches Guilford County. It'll be the largest in the state. We are the largest in the state now, 23 counties. The merger between Smoky and Western Highlands is now complete. We will have our last meeting of the original board Thursday night, even though this board didn't pass it, and a lot of boards didn't pass for the new board. The secretary thought it was enough, and I passed it. So anyway, it is what it is. So those negotiations continue. Our sheriff's department will show you that we have spent enough with this situation on the mental health to basically furnish about 6 officers full time. Is what we paid so out full time, close to $300,000. So we are trying to work on something here locally for our 6 Far West County, Jackson to Cherokee, to have a place for these families. The average wait time is still 40 hours in our ER. If it wasn't for Angel, I don't know exactly what we would do. But it is, so we meet Friday with the secretary or her representative, and we hope that we can, because that's a big hit to all of our counties, big hit to Macon County. There's folks in the ER tonight and their families. Regardless how you feel of that, there's just no work, but there's certainly no juvenile beds. We just had a young man stay 9 days. The hospital finally broke the they couldn't keep him away. So the young man was sent home basically with no treatment. So we're trying to find something in the West that we can, Chester Jones working with Clay County, and I put Chester up front, he just don't know it yet, but we can have some type of interlocal agreement, have a local place in a central location. We can have these people, and let them start getting treatment immediately, not sitting in the ER 9 days with no treatment, whoever it is, and their families. So we continue to work on those things, and hopefully, Mr. Chairman, that you'll be a part of the advocacy team when we get a little bit farther on that. There'll be no goal set for short session. Right. We will be there for the short session.
But I still am on the.
Yes, you certainly is.
Let me ask you this here. What would George's recommendation be for runoff elections?
Well, what they would like to do, percentages depending on how many run, that would eliminate the whole problem. If it's within a certain percentage, I think now it's a pretty wide margin considering how many votes you get. I think that's one thing. And the next thing is when they have the election, but like in a rural county, it's still, we have to pay for it. You have to mobilize every voting precinct. So another thing is to limit some of those voting precincts and give you one central, like a one-stop voting situation. Okay. So that was another idea. But to get those things passed, especially this is a statewide thing, to get it passed statewide on like in a big county, that would be tough.
Well, the reason I asked, I know this last election with Mark Meadows, we had one, and normally, when you have a runoff election, whoever wins the election wins anyhow, well, no, most of the time. But you know the situation was the little girl, her name will come to it, you know her down at Statesman, and her was talking, me and her was talking one day. And she was beat in the election, I forget who's for, well, people was 15 runs for county commissioner, I think is what it was, somehow. And then she come about it and come back and won. But she actually was the loser in the election. But I don't know, I don't exactly know what fairness on this year. I mean, one respect, the person just say who wants to win the election, let that be it. But
well, you take Buckingham County, there was 2 votes separated pretty people. Yeah. I mean, that's, they go to recounts, and so then they had another election, and when it's that close. But some of these, when you go by, we got, just like for right now for state senate on Republican, you got 10 candidates. So, you know, they're gonna be a runoff. Now, you already know for U.S. Senate, they're gonna be a runoff. And you know that coming in.
Costs us taxpayers.
And then it costs us just county.
So what you just said, they're like having something like set up like that one-stop voter, that would save a lot of money.
And I think if they would recognize rural counties like Macon County and some far west counties, would that work? Maybe metropolitan counties that would work. But in rural counties, it's just a money-saving option. So that's just something to talk about.
That's one though. I mean, anything we do to save tax dollars, we need to be looking at it.
Mike can probably tell you what that little runoff cost us. That 5% of people voted on Macon County, it was 40.
Like you say, you're mobilizing all those people.
Wasn't it $85,000 to $90,000?
Yes.
You have to, it's like a full-time election. So anyway, that's what we're talking about.
We just spent that money somewhere else.
Got all wrong?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can get something else.
Yeah, go ahead. Get big confidence, all right, go ahead.
That's all I had in the new business, unless there's anything else. The consent agenda was next, minutes, budget amendments. You see those, anything you want to move from that, or motion to approve that agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes. We do have some appointments, if you would. Take a look at those, just off my place, but we have the Town of Franklin appointment to the Economic Development Commission, and I believe that by letter, the name Barbara McCray was recommended by the town. Anybody have another suggestion for that, or motion to approve? Motion to approve. Or second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Barbara McCray to the Economic Development Commission. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. The Franklin Area Chamber of Commerce has an appointment.
You have one more there for the Economic Development Commission. Jim Ross.
We do.
Jim Ross, he's the CEO of Angel Medical Center. Mr. Hayden and I are the liaisons to that. You know, Angel Medical Center is not only very important to our community, and we think Mr. Ross brings a good set of skills to this economic development, and the hospital plays a major part in that. That's the first asked question when you talk about economic development is the hospital. And so we feel that he would be a good fit with that. Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we appoint James B. Ross to the Economic Development Commission.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second, any discussion? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. The next one was the Franklin Area Chamber of Commerce. I think you have a letter there from the chamber. President-elect is Judy Chapman, and she's the recommendation of the chamber board. And I know Judy personally, she would make a good addition there, so I recommend we approve her. So moved. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Who seconded? I believe Mr. Tate made the motion, Mr. Haley seconded. And EDC 1C, I believe we already did that.
We downtrodden that.
Okay. And then the Expansion of Recreation Commission membership. Mike, are you going to address that?
Yes, sir, just a little bit at least. I think that I think there was some confusion. A couple of meetings back, we had advertised the positions. We thought there were 2 seats on the rec commission coming open. That Matt Lewis and Gloria Thurn, we advertised that. Josh Ward and Josh Cantrell applied. The board appointed them to the Recreation Commission. And talking about it later with Seth Adams, apparently Seth and I had a couple of different sets of schedules and appointment lists in our hands.
It's not rotated.
They had not, Matt and Gloria has not rotated off, and yet we had 2 appointments to the rec commission. My fault, I'll take the responsibility for that one. But I guess I have to leave it up to the board. Do we ask someone to rotate off, or do you consider expanding the recreation commission from 6 members to 8?
Do we have to change the bylaw?
I'm not, to my understanding, there is not a set of bylaws.
We're not familiar with it, I would have to go back and look, not been involved.
Mr. Chairman, at least 2 people that we've appointed to the great league, the board.
I talked to Seth about that. There's current, I'm the liaison to the rec commission. There's currently 6 members to that board, I believe, Mike.
Yes.
And that would make it 8. And Seth said he wouldn't cause any great turmoil. He said he would be happy to have 8 board members, be another couple of people to be involved. And I agree with him. So
I believe he said sometimes we have to open the forum.
We're just 6 board members, and I've been to a couple of meetings where there's only been 4 there, so.
They don't have bylaws, you don't need a forum meeting.
You always want to forum if you want to make a suggestion.
Or I would just say enough people there to somebody discussion. Here we have a motion.
Second.
Expand the recreation commission to 8 members. Motion and second, any discussion?
I think you would want to make it part of your motion that those 2 people appointed would be the 7th and 8th. So,
that would be any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Anything else to come before the board in public session, Mr. Attorney? Anything? Mr. Manager, anything else you're aware of? We do have members of the meeting, we do have a request from our attorney to meet with him in private under North Carolina General Statute 193-318-11A3, attorney-client privilege, and also to discuss personnel, which is North Carolina General Statute 143-11A6, 5 West Main Street, Franklin, North Carolina. 5 West Main Street. So I have discussed with our attorney what these matters are. I do not anticipate any action coming out of that. Do you, Mr. Manager, any action you think we'll take that will come out? No, sir. I don't think we will. So you guys are welcome to stick around. You're welcome to give me a call later if you do anything. I think this is more a chance for our attorney to disseminate information to the board. Is that fair? Yes, sir.
And we said goodbye to Brittany, but
she's come back.
Just for you guys.
Actually, Brittany took a job with DNET, and she requested Macon County Youth, and she continued to serve the county commissioners. So here she is.
Brittany, we're glad to have you back. You do a good job.
So I've been working all day.
These don't say attorney job.
It's cheap.
Thank you for
Hey, Dawn.
waiting on this patiently.
Good to see you.
Just about going, you just got us.
I know, and I do apologize, Chairman, Commissioner, and the rest of the board. Lisa Leatherman sends her apologies. She was unable to come across, but she did want me to bring this to you. Every year, Franklin Chamber gives away a Duke Award, and this is what the Duke Award is. America has a long and proud tradition of volunteer service. Now more than ever, volunteers are needed to renew their commitment to helping others and creating efforts that bring us closer as a community and as a nation. Duke Energy wants to recognize these efforts by honoring citizens with the Duke Energy Citizenship and Service Award. And so we're proud to partner with the Franklin Area Chamber, which oversees the selection process. This is a tribute to individuals or groups who make a difference in their communities or places of work by using their time, talents, and compassion to positively impact the lives of others. Recipients of the award help foster a culture of citizenship and service that acts as a capacity for others to become involved in civic and social activities. The award recognizes outstanding volunteer service and civic participation. As outgoing chamber president this year, I am proud to be the one that actually recognizes the Duke Award. And we have already presented this across the way and was in hopes that you guys might be out and join us. So we're going to give you a condensed version so that you're not having to wait through all of the accomplishments. The 2013 Duke Award recipient is a strong community leader, a respected member of his community, and a friend and mentor to many. He has given unselfishly to this county for many years with his time, his support, and his knowledge. In the past year, a couple of things that I want to point out that he has been involved in is the DaVita Kidney Dialysis Machine Center, that he's seen the need for this community and he's seen the need for all of us to have this important factor here, and went way beyond what his duties was to make sure that the company agreed to come here and that we could have a good building and a good place to have it in. He's been a liaison with our Economic Development Committee and has moved us forward with many of our industry and small businesses here in the county. And this would be without saying when we see Whitley Products, which is now Franklin Tubular Products, that we almost lost in this county. And thanks to you gentlemen and the hard work of so many, we still have it. He served as county commissioner since 2006. He's been the commissioner of the year from the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. He's president-elect of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, and he serves on the board of the Macon County Fairgrounds diligently. If we look at some of the civic things that he's involved in, and the list was very extensive, so I'm not going to say that, but to say the least, we all stood and gave him a round of a standing ovation for his hard work that he gave to all of us. As I told him, I've known this man as long as I can remember, so I can verify back till I was 5 years old that I can remember that. He's probably there when I was 2, just aggravating my brothers, I'm pretty sure. The gentleman has been a great inspiration to me. When I look around and I look to people that serve in our community and give so unselfishly, and I could only hope that I feel one of those footsteps that he has made in the sand over the many years. So it's with that this year the Chamber of Commerce would like to recognize Ronnie Bill as the award recipient of the Duke Award.
Well, thank you all so much. I wasn't expecting that.
Sorry, I'm
I told Kim, well, February.
And I really want to thank Kelly and Pam for helping us out on that. Thank you.
Pam.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all so much, I really appreciate it.
No, thank
On
you.
a Rick Elfront, thank you, though.
We appreciate it, yes. Let me say that, you held yourself better, a lot better than I did. I received this more last year, and I cried like a little baby when I
Well, I was about to now talking,
That's, I told him I couldn't do that over there, but I did, we could do it back over here, because I cried, so we can do that.
And if y'all didn't pick up on the chamber bank, it was the same time that our meeting was, they wanted to present this, they wanted to come across and present this to Ronnie during our meeting, so glad you made it.
Thank y'all for letting us in. We appreciate all.
Thank you, Stacy.
I didn't have any.
I didn't have any.